What's up guys, Stealthwhale here, and today I made another one command creation coming at you guys, and today it is going to be throwing swords in only one command. So we paste this in here, power it, and this used Mr. Garetto's only one command generator, and here it is. It's quite a lot of command blocks, and without further ado I'll jump right into it. So what this adds is throwing swords and throwing potions into your world, and it doesn't use too many command blocks. It is about 25 command blocks, but it is pretty cool in practice. So yeah, so how it works is you're going to need an anvil and a stone sword, and how you get throwing swords and throwing potions is all you have to do is place down your anvil, put the sword or object in, and name it throwing sword, and then when you throw it, it will become a throwing sword. And as you can see, you can throw it about 13 blocks, which is pretty cool, and it works in any direction, and it will damage mobs. And it does have some pretty cool sound effects, and it uses particles. And the potions, basically what happens, if you name any potion, long-range potion, and you throw it, it will throw much farther than normal, and it will have those particles and make the cool noises, which is pretty cool. I am going to hop over into Game Mode 0 and show you how this works in practice. Okay, so here we are in Game Mode 0, and what we're going to do is take all these items out of this chest. As you can see, we have throwing swords, and then we also have undead throwing swords, because what happens is, when I was going through making this, I realized that the throwing swords, they use effects, and they affect mobs with damage, and this is completely multiplayer friendly as well. It's actually really cool to use in multiplayer. It's compatible with the shield only one command I made. Throwing swords will actually do damage, which will heal undead mobs. So if you name it undead throwing sword, it will do splash potions of healing, which will heal mobs. So, and then long range potions, I just named a couple potions, long range potion, and then let's take these, and here's some extra throwing swords, and then this is just a potion of slowness to show you how far normal potions go and how far long range potions go. So if we just set the time to night, and it's nighttime, and some mobs should start to spawn. The undead throwing swords work exactly the same as normal throwing swords. It's pretty darn cool, and sometimes I actually find myself using the undead throwing swords more often. But if we look in this direction and we throw, that's how far a normal splash potion goes, and this is how far a long range potion throws. So you can name any potion, just like before. You can name any potion now. So I'm just gonna take out this spider right here. Oh darn it! Die. So as you can see, it will deal. It's about a 2-hit kill, so it's pretty powerful. And then in order to go and get your sword, you have to go pick it back up. So it's I missed that time, but let me try this. Oh yeah, got him. So it's within a radius of 1. So if you get any mob, oh yeah, that's another element. If you're in multiplayer, you're in a multiplayer battle, you can actually block throwing swords by holding another throwing sword and looking directly at an undead throwing sword. Darn it, I missed. By looking directly at the opponent. Darn it. Oh, that's not gonna work. But if you use a throwing sword on an undead mob, it will actually heal it, so you don't want to do that. Oh, got him. So as you see, the mechanics are pretty darn cool. It's not causing any lag at all, really. Darn it. Take you out, spider. But it is kind of annoying. You have to get all the swords back. I see, it repels it. So if another player throws a sword at you and you're holding an undead sword, it will deflect off of your sword. If like it'll deflect off, it's super cool. And also shields will deflect it. It's compatible with my shield only one command. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I made it so that if you have to name the sword, so that it's not too expensive, but you do have to be mid-game. Oh crap, there's a zombie behind me. You have to be mid-game, you have to have an anvil, and it is going to cost a little bit of XP to get the sword, so it's worth picking up again instead of just crafting a ton of stone swords. But you're going to hop over into game mode 1, and I'll show you what is going on behind the scenes. So if I stand here, what's happening when I throw this sword is there's a scoreboard that I have running, just like the shields. It's telling what direction I am looking in. So when I'm looking in direction 1 and I throw the sword, it is going. First of all, I also have a scoreboard that sets every time I'm holding either a throwing sword or a throwing potion. So when I drop this item, it's going to give this item a score of 1, and then when I'm looking in a direction of 1 and I have a score that I'm holding the sword, minimum of 1, it's going to set the entity data to make it go to go really far in this direction. So that's how it works, and it amplifies it, and it pretty much just amplifies the entity data going in any direction. So it's a lot of command blocks, and then I just have a couple of scoreboards running so it doesn't damage you when you throw the sword, because otherwise it would damage you. And there's only 3 scoreboards, so you can readily modify it. So you see, when I'm holding the sword, it gives me 10, and then it reduces it. So when I drop it, it will lower my score. And once I get a 7 score, it's actually going to give me that sound. So it didn't damage him because it's a normal throwing sword. And there's another, this scoreboard's a lot more complicated. Items, and when you throw it, it's going to set the score down. And all the time that it has between 25 and 1, it's going to do the particles, and that is the stage where it can deal damage. After that, it's not going to do any damage to me. So that's how that works, and that's pretty much it. It's fairly complicated compared to my, fairly simple, not complicated, simple compared to some of the other things I've been working on, but it's a cool thing. You might actually want to put it on your server. It's a really cool mechanic. And I have a couple more of these little concepts coming out, like I've made laser helmets and stuff. I've made laser helmets and a cool, better jumping mechanic that when you shift, it charges up your jump, and then you can jump higher after you shift, which is really cool. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and Stealthwhale out. Also, there's a really cool thing that you can do, which is kind of a bug, but is also kind of purposeful. If you run this command, which I'll have in the description, so scores player set at the tables entity horse item Z, whatever score you want, it will constantly do this, and then if you ride it and you hold a throwing sword, see what's happening when you jump. It will kind of fly around, actually, like that, and it pretty much just kind of is a levitating horse that can jump and levitate for extreme periods of time. And if you have a horse with insane jump, like some horses do, it will fly for an extremely long time. And I'm gonna die here, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, so that's just amazing. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, I must say.